Hello people of YouTube and welcome back. So we're going to do a bit of a ramble video. It's going to be a VR to Roger Retro. I've kind of not been doing videos for a little bit. I have been getting pickups, just not as many as I would do normally, but I just don't have time to make a video. Some bloody buggers bought me some gifts the other day for my birthday, so that means I'm going to have to definitely do a pickup video because they got me some really cool stuff. So thanks to the people who bought me that, and you know who you are. And I've still got to finish that video, the shmup video as well. I've really got to get that done. It will get done. It will honestly get done. Anyway, what else is there? There's probably a few other things as well I need to do, but for now we're going to do a VR video because it's going to be easier because I can just upload this straight from my phone. Anyway, I'm rambling quick because I'm at work soon, so good morning everyone. But yeah, the question was, why are you collecting? Why are you a collector? Are you a collector? It's quite a good, an interesting question for me because I'm not the person who I was like last year. How I thought last year is probably totally different than what I do now. I've sold up a lot of my collection. However, I've not got rid of all of it, and where am I with it all? So I guess the first question, what made you start collecting? It's because I'm a fucking addict, full-on addict. All my life I've had addiction problems, whether they be good or bad, from playing video games as a kid, then to rollerblading, and then to going out and having a bit too much of a good time, then to cycling, and then to music, which is the next biggest part of me. I would obsess over things so much so that it's not kind of normal for most people, which is kind of why I went into like DJing and stuff like that, because I like to sort of share my interests a little bit. It's like, this is what I think is good, so this is what you should think is good too. So that's why I always became a DJ. And then I got into video game collecting, which has been probably the biggest addiction I've ever had, really, in some ways, which is probably a good thing in some ways, because it's not as bad as others, but anyway, and I think if you're a true collector, you're an addict of some kind. You're either chasing one of many things while you're collecting. If you're not an addict, then I don't know what you're doing collecting, because we're all addicts. We've all got something wrong with us, because this isn't fucking normal. It really isn't normal. No human being should do this, nesting with like geeky shit like this, but is what we do to make us happy, and that's the main thing. If it makes you happy, then you're doing it right, and I'm happy with my collection. Anyway, so how I started, one of my friends stayed over at my house for a month because he was moving down south. He was moving to London, so he was getting rid of loads of stuff, and as a thank you, he gave me his GameCube, which I think I've told you this in many times before. So he gave me a GameCube, and it kind of got me looking on YouTube and like finding out about like retro channels and stuff like that. In fact, it was even before YouTube. It was the Angry Video Game Nerd. Started watching him, and then it sort of like got me into the NES again, because NES was one of my first true consoles. Like the Atari 2600 was, but it wasn't really. It was really my parents'. But the NES was totally mine. That was like my own console, and fell in love with it. Got addicted to it. Got all the magazines, Club Nintendo, everything. It's crazy how different like the country can be separated in like interests and stuff like that, because it only becoming on YouTube that you find out like a lot of England are more into the Master System. But like where I was from, everyone was like an NES kid. So it's strange, but yeah, I loved it. It was a fantastic system, and again, finding about the NES later in life, as a collector back then, it was all about finding out about new games, and that's why we collected. We collected because we wanted to. It was like, oh, what's this Gargoyles Quest 2. Never had that as a kid. I never had it as a kid. I think I had it on, no, Gargoyles Quest 1, wasn't it? I had Gargoyles Quest 2 on the Game Boy, but didn't really know about it on the NES, really. So yeah, had that, got that, great game and everything like that, and yeah, you started going on from one to the next one, and then all of a sudden you've got a collection, and then all of a sudden you start going, oh well, I want a full set. So then I started going towards a full set, the NES, and then it started getting a bit harder to get games. So I started collecting Sega Master System games and Mega Drive games, all systems I had as a kid, and that's kind of the reason why I did it. And the Super Nintendo as well. But the Super Nintendo was a little bit more harder because I wanted everything boxed, you see, back then. So yeah, I got to a point where I started doing it, and I was like, I feel like I wasn't really playing the games so much. I was playing some of the games, but not all of them. It was always the Mega Man games. I always loved the Mega Man games, no matter what. Mega Man, Metroid, loved all them games. So anyway, I decided my addictions got the best of me. And I thought, right, so I sold all that collection off, all in one go. And I used that money to start buying music equipment, which was, like I say, another one of my addictions in my life. So I was like, right, I'm going to really follow my dreams and become an artist. And all I just ended up doing is becoming a piss artist. So, like, yeah, then I realised... like that wasn't my future really, although I still enjoyed it and had a good time with the money that I used to buy that equipment and everything like that, which I've got a lot of it still to this day. But anyway, how am I still in this mess? Well, I had still kept my Xbox 360. I kept a lot of the consoles, but I sold the games because I had an EverDrive and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, that's enough for me. But as an addict, you can't get rid of that addiction. You cannot get, if you're a true collector, these thoughts just never leave your mind. It's impossible. And I was going to car boot sales, and I started picking up 360 games and PS2 games. And before I knew it, I had a collection. So I started going on YouTube again. And then I got back into watching Tootie, because I can remember watching Tootie, but he was collecting Xbox games, I think a lot of Xbox games, which wasn't really my kind of thing. But then I saw that he sold his Xbox collection, and he was talking about CX a lot more. And because I was going car booting and stuff, I didn't really put two and two together that, like, if you could buy the games that you've already got, sell them on and get games that you need. And it was like, then it just like opened up a new collection loop in my head that like that fully went nuclear. So because of that, I was going to car boots all the time, and it went like to a weekly thing instead of like just here and there. And my PS2 and my 360 collection just went like nuts. And then again, when you're a collector, you get these dark thoughts of, well, I need this, that, and the other, and you also need to start collecting other things. And then, yeah, so it just became as it did. And then me and my ex split up, and then that's when things got really like how it is now, because I had free reign, you see. I started doing YouTube and started collecting on YouTube, and yeah, the rest is history, I guess. So yeah, it's been I've enjoyed my collecting time. There is something very pleasing coming into like the room of stuff that you've collected, and just you don't even have to play the games. You can just have a look around and like have the memories of how you picked them up, the games themselves, and everything like that. Like I say, I mean, I've started collecting PC Engine games in the last few years, and I've loved it because I've found out so many of my new favourite games from learning to collect and everything like that. And that's what I love about collecting. That's like one of my favourite things. So yeah. Then I've sold up a lot of my collection to buy a house. And then that's where I am at the moment. So am I a collector right now? I don't know. I've got a collection. I'm happy with my collection. I'll always be buying PS4 games because I'm still a gamer, although I don't game as much anymore because of time. But so I'm picking up a lot less of these, but this will never go. I'll always have my PS4 collection. It'll always be slowly growing. My retro games, I'm still picking up games here and there. I've actually bought a game recently, a retro game. Probably will I do it in a pickup video? I don't know. I'm probably going to be slowing down. Well, I probably won't be doing as much pickup videos anymore. I don't know. Might do. I'm getting more into Instagram at the moment because you can just post just throwaway things there. I don't know. Just a bit more easier to do. But yeah, am I a collector? Ooh, I don't know. I'm an ex-collector. I'm a retired collector, but this is my forever collection now. This is what I want to keep. That being said, I'm selling my PS3 games, so maybe it's not going to be it's hard to say what your forever collection is going to be because things change, like attitudes change, and I think it'd be boring just to have the same collection constantly unless you've got like full sets and you've still got that drive to continue to collect. I still have. I would like that drive. I would like to not sell my PS3 games, but I've my addictions are going into my house right now. Whereas I'm spending money building a bloody building in my back garden, which isn't video game related, but that's just where my head is at the moment, and I need funds to do so. So I'm selling PS3 games. But yeah, there's still there's a couple of like subsets I would like to complete. I'd love to complete the shmup section for my PC Engine and Super Famicom and Mega Drive. In fact, I'm still enjoying picking up shmups because they're pretty much the only games I really play these days because they just pick up and play, really fun. My favourite genre, really. So yeah, there is that. What else was I going to say? So, and then I'm collecting Tesura games. It's some of these big boxes up here. Tesura games. That's my latest modern subset collection craze. It's all the big boxes only as well that I'm going for. Kind of pointless because like I've just gone through Unmetal, great game, but I played it digitally, so realistically I didn't need that big box. But the addict to me is still there. I think you can never get a true collector. You cannot get that out of your head. And that's going to leave me to the next bit. What do I dislike about collecting? And it's the community, because collectors, how I was brought up in collecting. You're not brought up you find your own feet, and then you find a community. You find people that are interested in the same things you are, and it's like, oh, there is other people that do this. It's crazy that like how different things are nowadays, because people were buying games and then all of a sudden they've got a collection because they was buying them for themselves, and then they've got a collection. Nowadays, people are buying games because they want to show them off on a social media platform, whether Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or whatever. That's how it seems to me. And like the game itself is secondary. It's all about the price. Does anyone else want it? Is it collectible? But the game itself is totally secondary, and it baffles me. I just don't understand collecting nowadays. It's not collecting, it's just literally just showing off, and that's what I hate about it. And I think it puts off a lot of content creators that are genuinely true collectors, that like are interested in the history of the games and the games themselves before the monetary value of it. Of course, monetary value is a big part of collecting and stuff like that. You can't get away from that. But that doesn't have to be the first and foremost reason why people want these games. To me, like there's a lot of history in gaming. Like Capcom, Konami, just big console like companies. I just love hearing about like new consoles that I've never heard of before importing. But it's just like now everyone's just like a big collective swarm of flies just like surrounding shit. Like whatever someone says is cool, everyone just like, oh, let's go over there and just get that, which is good for like true collectors, because while they're doing that, we can look over here and getting stuff for cheap and stuff like that, which is good in some ways. But like, it just seems to be that everyone nowadays is into game collecting is doing it for the views or the subs or the likes, as opposed to being a true collector and stuff like that. Like I say, I think a true collector could sell all of their games and then start again without realizing. Whereas the modern day collector, they'll probably sell the collection off if they start getting the views dropping down or something like that, and it won't. They're only there for like, I don't know, fame. I'll say fame because it's like a lot of people have only got like 1,000 subs or whatever, which who cares how many you've got. But like, it's like they'll only do certain things if it's going to get a view or something like that. Whereas yeah, that's what just frustrates me about collecting at the moment. It's just like everyone is just the latest craze fad, whereas like just collect games what you like. If no one else likes them, who cares? If it's going to be all Peppa Pig games, if you like them, collect them. But yeah, it's just people seem to have to do stuff because other people like it, if that makes sense. Just no one has I mean, I say no one, there is definitely people there that have their own identities, and that's what's missing in collecting these days, identities of collectors. It's just everyone wants to be the same as everyone else. I mean, like I said, when I did my game room, I wanted it to be, this is being like in my head for ages, and don't get me wrong, there's a place for white Billy bookcases and everything like that, but every collector nowadays just seems to have white Billy bookcases, and it's like they're very practical, but it's very boring. Colour them up, paint them or something like that. Just do something to make them a bit different. That's all I'm saying. Just put your own creative stamp on it. It's been a while since I've seen people that do that, and it's mostly Americans. British people seem to be, we seem to be the worst offenders of just following everyone else. But anyway, that rant over. What is my favourite thing about collecting? It's the community again. How weird, isn't it? And the flip of the coin, it's still the community. Yeah, so the community, even though the majority of modern day collectors seem to be just doing things for what other people want, there is still people out there that like just talk about games because they want to talk about games, and that's why I'm doing this VR today. Roger Retro is definitely one of them. Retro Red Steve is definitely one of them. Another person who did the VR, and it's just like there is still people out there like that, and it's just a shame because I think people nowadays who want to start doing YouTube and stuff like that, like look at other people that are just following the fame and everything like that, and then just follow that direction instead of like just coming on and just talking about stuff, which is a shame. Anyway, I'm starting to become a bit of a rant again, but yeah, the community is great. Like, I love it. I mean, a lot of it's kind of gone a bit more underground now. We're not quite as much like visible, but there is still people out there. We have the 52 game challenge where it's like we just talk about games, whether they'll be good, bad or whatever. It's just we want to talk about games. And that's not a plug, but it kind of is. But yeah, there's so many good people out there that are genuine, and like probably I speak to these people more than I speak to my true friends because of it. And yeah, none of it is about like, oh, how many subs you got this week. It's not about that. But yeah, like I say, that's frustrating. But the second thing, and I've touched on it before, is my favourite thing is I love the art of all this stuff. That's the reason why, for me, the reason why I collect is just to be able to pull a box, or just a random box, and just go, oh, look at the artwork on that. That's flipping fantastic. Of course, there is some that are like not very nice, but fortunately, I don't collect just everything. I kind of collect stuff for myself, like I say. So I'm not going for every game. So most of it is, at least to me, aesthetically pleasing. I could play all these on the emulator, but I choose to have these up on my shelves so I can look at them. And yeah, it's like an anxiety stress relief just to be able to come into your room and just like see good artwork just by pulling it out and having a look through, having a flick through. And yeah, you don't even have to play the games. It's just seeing the memories of everything. So yeah, that is, I think I've answered all the questions. But yeah, like I did like seeing all the VRs. Hopefully there's going to be a few more going around. And in fact, I'd like to see the VR thing come back again, because it's easier for me to make a video like this. Anyway, thanks for watching. Sorry for bloody ranting so much. I'm not quit, honestly. But I will be trying to finish off videos that I made like 3 months ago. So I'll speak to you guys later. Bye.